Hey guys, Keyforger here, bringing you guys a new video. This video is going to be kind of a tutorial video on how to pick a sealed deck in a sealed tournament, whether it be Volt Tour, your locals, anything like that. You want to be able to pick the most efficient sealed deck that you can so you can get the most wins you can, especially if it's a Volt Tour or Volt Warrior, wherever they end up doing for Volt Warriors. You're going to want to have the best deck playing the most efficiently, and sometimes you don't get the best decks. Right here I have laid out 3 sealed decks. Yes, this one I ripped off the whole package because I'm an idiot. 3 sealed decks that I don't know what they are. These are old decks from my collection, but I never played with them. I don't know what's in them. I don't know their ratings. I don't know anything about them. We're going to go through it together. I'm going to pick one of the decks. There'll be decks of Keyforge links down below. You should pick which one you think is the best one. Go through the deck list as we go through. Comment down below which one you think is the best. And yeah, then check the decks of Keyforge to see if it matches up, because sometimes it doesn't. All 3 of these decks are AOA, so they're going to be comparable to each other. This is what the Volt Tour that I first went to, which was Origins last year. Origin was supposed to be happening in a couple of weeks. It's kind of sad that we're not going to get it, because it was probably going to be Mass Mutation sealed, which would have been absolutely fantastic. But I did get 3 terrible decks at Origins. If you want to compare 2 decks of Keyforge, once again, SAS is not really the end-all be-all, so don't take that as a Bible to base your decks off of. The deck that I actually played, and the best one of my 3, is a 57 SAS. So that's technically below average based on their rating system. And I went 4-2. So you can do it with a bad deck. You just got to be able to pick the best deck. Because if you can do that with a bad deck, imagine what you could do with a good deck. So without further ado, we're going to get into these. So the first thing I do as soon as I get the decks is make sure I can see all the cards in them. Once again, this one's broken, so we'll probably do this one first. And I'm going to look for certain key cards in each house, right? So right here, you can already see Health from Future Self and Time Traveler right there. So this deck already has a leg up on the other decks there. And then we're going to look through this. We see Tesmal there. We see, Charette. So those are good. Gold Key Imp is kind of a bad one. You don't want to see that, especially if you don't have a way to get rid of it. And we also have Wretch Doll. So this one is not looking great here. So we might not want that one. And then we have this one here, who has 2 Cold a Week, 2 Binding Irons. That's decent. We have an Exhume with no really good target, but we do have Shadow of Dis, which is going to stop our opponent's creatures. We have 2 Archimedes, so we can archive a ton of stuff. We have Midnight Rapture, so if we're ahead. We don't have the Interdimensional Graph. We have Merkins. Merkins is one of the best cards, especially in Sealed, because he's just going to let you play one of your opponent's cards. We have Ring of Invisibility. We have Caper. Caper is decent. He's not always the best, but he is decent. Knife Forge isn't very good, but Lights Out is good. So right now, I think it's down to these 2. My next step is always to just open them one at a time while I'm reading the deck lists, as I already had destroyed that one. The other ones I opened just for the sake of time, because in the last time I opened the sealed decks took forever. So and then I just go through them and count, right? So I want to count how many amber we have. So we have 1 there. We have 2, 3, 4. This is one of the cards I would put aside because it's not great. You want to make sure you're counting how many cards aren't great as well. So we have 4 still amber. Memory Chip is actually really good. I sometimes make a pile of the cards that are really, really good and have those aside, and then I can compare the good pile to the bad pile. So we'll see, Jargoggle's good. Stillskin's good. That's 5 amber. Igor's really good. 6 amber. And then those are really good. 7. This is really bad. 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 Amber. 10 Amber isn't terrible. Looking at our good cards, they're mostly in one house. Our disc has really no good cards. Our best card is the Shadow of Dis. And the 2 Call the Weeks. Call the Week is actually really good. Our 2 bad cards are Swindle and Misery Exploit. Misery Exploit is much worse, but Swindle is also bad because it does have that Alpha Omega. It's good to push endgame, but mid-game, it's actually really bad. 2 Binding Irons is decent. This card actually is bad too, so I'd put that in the bad side. Shrieky's actually decent. Unlock Gateway's okay. Scullion is like that in-between good-bad card. We don't really have any destroyed abilities, but we do have the Exhume. So we can bring whatever we kill with Scullion back, but for the most part, he's not very good. Eater of the Dead. Binate Rapture in this deck is okay. Our Amber is only 10, so it's not the best in the world. Then we have some just decent creatures. We don't really have a way of killing Brent the Fanatic, so that's one disadvantage of having him in the deck. Is just going to give your opponent a free Amber. So this deck right now is not great. So this right now, out of the 2 decks, since I already looked, this is number 1. So I'm going to put number 1 here, number 2 here, number 3 here. Next, we're going to look at that deck that doesn't have the Time Traveler or Logos at all. This is they all have discs, which is pretty good. Which is what happened with my actual deck in the at the Voltor. All of my decks had shadows, but they were all real bad shadows. And 57, just to be fair, 57 was actually, after looking at the SAS after the tournament, is actually the best one. And that's 57 now. Back then, it was like 63 or something like that. It was real bad. All right, so looking at the list, we have a couple of decent cards, like this one right here. I put this under the good cards. +2 power to all your creatures helps. Grasping Vines is actually a really good card. Mongrel, these are just decent. These are good. Oh yeah, we're gonna count Amber too. So I almost forgot. So we have 2, 3, 4 Amber. None of these are particularly good. So we have about 3 good cards right now. This card is one of the worst cards in the game. So Wretch Doll. York is pretty bad too. So now we got 5 Amber, 6 Amber. This is bad. This York is decent. Unlocked Gateway. Tesmal is really good. Not Finished With You just gives us Amber. Charette's really good. We got Binding Irons. This is bad. Especially in a deck like this where we have big creatures. We're going to want to reap most of the time. So right now we have 7 Amber. Champion Challenge is actually really good. War Chest is decent. Flex, but what's our biggest flex target is only 5. So flex in this deck is actually bad. Little Rapskull, bad. This guy, bad. Pound gives us an Amber. Grok is actually really good. So is Gauntlet of Command. 2 First Bloods, they're bad. They do give us Amber, and he's actually pretty decent. So let's see how much Amber we have in this deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have 10 Amber as well. So we're going Amber for Amber. But we have, well, I would consider 7 pretty bad cards in this deck. Compared to 7 good cards. So this is a 0 count deck. So this is real bad. This deck I would not play at all. I wouldn't even consider playing this deck out of the 3. Even if the other one didn't have Time Traveler, the other one is just much better. Logos is pretty decent, especially if you can have Memory Chip and, 2 Archimedes. You're going to be archiving a lot. So, yeah, this deck is already in 3rd. All right, and then we have this deck here. It does have Mars. A lot of people don't like AOA Mars. AOA Mars is not as good as some other Mars, but we're seeing there 3 unlocked gateways. So that's an interesting setup there. Contaminant Field is okay. It's not a great card. Combat Pheromones is actually a really good card. So we got 1 Amber there. Decent. These are okay. Mars Needs Amber is really good. 2 Mars First is really good. These are pretty meh. And of course, we have Time Traveler and Help from Future Self. So we're already at 6 amber with, I would consider, 2, probably 4 good cards that are in our amber. 2 Rocket Boots can be pretty good. I don't know if we have anything in the deck that they can go off of. I guess Professor Stutterskin can go off of it. We have 3 pokes as well. So Director ZYX is actually really, really good. Backup copy is insane on Time Traveler. He does give us an amber, so we're going to put him in the amber. Titan Librarian, really good. Stillskin, really good. 3 pokes is going to give us amber. That's decent. Tolus is pretty bad. Tolus plus Soul Snatcher is really bad, so we're going to put those there. We got Oblivion, Pandemonium. We got Old York again. Gunguzel. Then we get the 3 unlocked gateways, so those are something. Schuler is actually really good. Not finished with you yet, gives the amber, and then of course Lash is really good. So with a deck like this, first let's see how much amber we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 14 amber with this deck. The advantage with this deck could be this Soul Snatcher plus this unlocked gateway, but we have to have a good creature count for that. So we have 2 bad cards essentially against 5 good cards, so we're at a +3, which is pretty good. All these cards are pretty good. They're from 2 different houses almost. Plus we have the Time Traveler, so they're mostly logos, so it's kind of one-sided. But we do have the Mars First, which are really, really good and would go in that pile, as well as the Combat Pheromones. But let's see how many creatures we have. Okay, so we have 1 there. We have 1, 2. So we only have 2 so far. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we only have 13 creatures. So Soul Snatcher is really bad, but Unlocked Gateway is really good. This makes Unlocked Gateway really good because we're not hitting our creatures most of the time. We're mostly going to be playing creatures just to either, gain amber, or we're going to be playing them in logos. We can also archive, using either of these to archive stuff like that, or archive the Soul Snatcher and the Tolus. Tolus might actually be decent because we don't really have a lot of ways to kill creatures. We're going to be more reaping and using our creatures to do different things. So this would be the deck I would play because it has those 3 unlocked gateways. The Tolus is slightly better because we can play him. He's a target we can't really kill. He kills some stuff, but besides him, none of our stuff really kills. Maybe Schuler, but yeah, Tolus might just get us a lot of amber. And if we have Tolus out, we can always just safely unlock the gateway to destroy the field. So I think this is the best one. I think this deck here might have a better SAS score. This one is the worst in every aspect, but this has more amber, has a little bit of creatures, it has creature control. It is missing artifact control, but in sealed, that's not as big of a deal. If somebody does hit you with, a really good artifact card, yeah, it could be super, super detrimental, but for the most part, everybody's on almost a even playing field. Being able to use backup copy on your Time Traveler is really good. Backup copy is good, obviously, with Unlocked Gateway. Old York is decent because you can discard a couple of pretty bad cards. Not finished with you yet is an okay card. It's much better because you do have the Time Traveler, as well as, the Director, ZYX, and the Stutterskin. Stutterskin can't draw a ton of cards, but if you put Rocket Boots on him, he's going to draw you at least 2 cards. So that's decent. What else? Is there any other good reap abilities? Think Drone's not a super good reap ability. He's not great either because you have to stun your own guys. But, he can be board control with Rocket Boots. So he could be decent, especially if you only have Mars creatures out. since our creature control is so low anyways. Mother Gun's going to help ping some stuff. Pandemonium is actually pretty bad in this deck. Creeping Oblivion's really good because we can wipe the board. 3 Poke is just going to probably give us Amber. It's probably not going to ever kill anything. And Poke is pretty good with Mars Needs Amber, because then it'll let them capture their own guys, and you can unlock Gateway. So there are a couple of combos with that deck. As for this deck, I feel like the problem is it's just not going to get there fast enough. It has a couple of deck cards. It does also have Unlock Gateway. But be able to exhume Merkins is really good. Overall, I just think this deck is slightly worse and would just lose to that deck just because it wouldn't be able to keep up. And this deck, I feel like, needs the creatures to be really good. And this deck, once again, it's just bad. It's not good. It's just some big creatures. It has some really bad creatures. Flex is just really bad in this deck because you have Grok as your biggest guy and you have no way to power him up. I guess you can get him to 7, so you're gaining 3 Amber instead of 2, but it's just not worth it. This deck is garbage. This deck is okay for sealed, but this deck I think is really good. Time Traveler is really hard to beat. It has a search ability. It has a draw 2 ability. It 3 Unlock Gateway is going to stop your opponent from having any creatures. You're not really hurting any of your own stuff. So yeah, I'd play Eddington the Agonizing over the other 2. So if you guys feel differently, make sure you guys comment down below. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys rate, subscribe, and comment. Matt should be coming over tomorrow, so we should be recording some sealed stuff. Opening to sealed will be back, and also just straight blind sealed we'll be doing too. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe so you can see that, and I will see you guys later.